Hello there, cubists. How's that for somebody that's making a bunch of cube blocks? I am today wanting to kind of give you a catch up on hopefully what I'm doing and what you might want to be doing or what you might want to think about doing in the future. I have made, I think I counted 29 blocks, something like that. And as I got them finished, the last few, I think I wanted to first of all tell you that on the directions it shows when you're sewing, when you get to this part, ready to sew on the top on each of the two sides. I had, in the directions I show you, to press these seam allowances down. So I pressed the seam allowances down on both sides. And then when you sew the top piece on, I don't know, it might say in your directions to press that down, but I started pressing them up. I think I might like that better. I don't think it's going to make a whole lot of difference when we sew these together, and if you want to press them open, that's a good choice too. Always, before you sew and after you sew, lay them together, make sure, yes, I can see a good cube there. If you can't see a cube, sometimes you might have like this diamond flipped around or something like that. So keep that in mind. And then something else. I noticed when I did my cubes, most of them, I thought when I got them up on my board, looked fairly good as cubes. I will point out this one right here, I'm not as satisfied with, because there's just, if you look close you can see, but it's one of those things where these are sort of mushing into one another. So I didn't make another one of those. Some of the blocks I made doubles of, but you know, some look better than others, and that's okay. Don't have to like all of them equally as much. After you get a number of cubes done, you're going to probably start wanting to think about what you're going to do with these cubes. And so that's what I'm focusing on today. For my quilt, I don't think I'm going to make a full, tall quilt with, you know, many rows of blocks. If I make a pattern from it, or if I travel around, it's easier for me to use a smaller quilt, maybe a large crib size or a large wall quilt, and then in a pattern I can add, if you want to make your quilt this size, add blocks here, that kind of thing. So it's just easier for me. But if you want to make a bed quilt, you will probably want to do maybe, I think the one I have in the other room is 8 rows across and 9 or 10 rows tall, 9 or 10 blocks tall. So 8 blocks across, 9 or 10 blocks tall makes a 70 by 79 or something like that quilt. So keep it in mind, and I will have some more information on that also coming out. You also will need to have what we call background blocks, blocks for the sides and blocks for the top and bottom. I went ahead and cut some to let you see how to do them, and then I'm going to have the directions, and I'm going to show you right now real quickly how to cut them. The first thing for your side background, this is going to be my background, this nice blue. I had chosen a black background, and then I decided it was too much, too dark, and so I went with this blue. The strip needs to be cut for the sides. I think you need to cut a strip 4 1/4 inches wide. And that is in the directions that I will post in the description below. Then you're going to take your ruler, the 60-degree ruler, lay it on top so that the bottom of the strip is lined up with the very widest part of this ruler. And there. This one, I'd already cut one, so I've had that. So then I can cut over here. Oh, and this is folded, so this is going to give me 2 pieces. Now I can take that and turn it upside down, or turn the ruler upside down. Lay it here, lay it there. Side should be on that line. I usually use my pinky finger to hold onto it on the right side, and then cut again. So this will give me some more sides. I have my blocks up here, but they have not been arranged in any sort of order. So don't be surprised if I show you this again and they're all whipped around in a different order. I also, well, I'll talk about that in a minute. So these are the side blocks. They are called flat parallelogram, or flat trapezoids. Flat trapezoids, or they're a parallelogram, only they have to have the top it has to be shaped like that. It can't be a trapezoid. It's often like that. Okay, so that will do those sides. These triangles are cut again using this triangle ruler, but your strip has to be 5 inches. I think this is already cut at 5 inches. Let me make sure. Yes. And I did them folded because it's just faster. This one I haven't cut yet. So I'm going to lay my ruler down, and this time, remember how you cut your little triangles for these blocks. You're going to lay the ruler down like you're going to cut a triangle. But when you lay it down, you're going to see that the point is up at the top. The bottom of the bottom line of the ruler, this comes to the 5-inch line, or it says the 5 line. And then, remember how you cut those triangles? You cut this way, and then you flip around, and this is, if I cut that way, I'm going to have to turn this. Let me turn that. There. Because I can't very well cut behind me, or cut back to myself. Okay, and then cut on this side. Then, once you have that, I have 2 triangles here. Now then, I am going to take this ruler and I'm going to lay it on my triangle so that the point is at the top and so that the middle line of the ruler is along one side. So I'm cutting this triangle into 2 right down the middle. There we go. So I have 2 triangles. And now they are not exactly the same. See, one points one way, one points the other way. You have to use a certain one in a certain place. So I'm going to put this one up here. He will fit on the right side. This will fit on the left side. And so when we sew these together, when we're ready, when you have everything all like you want it, it's all ready to sew. Remember, we are not sewing together this way. We are sewing together this way. And we will cover that in another time. But we're going to sew this to this, to this, to this, to this, to this, to this. Make a long column. And then we're going to sew this to this, to this, to this, to this, to this, to this. And when we have all these long columns, then we sew the columns together and we're seeing our cubes again. So, things to remember is make sure that your backgrounds are 4 1/4 wide. Cut them with the triangle ruler. These little triangles are cut with the triangle ruler, but it's a 5-inch strip. Make sure your blocks, that you don't sew the blocks together. Make sure you sew the blocks in halves so that you have them. Feel free as they are in halves and as you're playing with them to see what sort of a setup you'd like. One thing I think I might want to do, and I'm not sure yet because I still am going to play around with my design a lot, is I think sometimes it might be best if I, like, instead of putting a block in here, you can take these flat pieces, side pieces, are just the same size, should just be the same size as your 1/2 of your cube. So if you wanted to, I kind of think it might be neat to have some open spaces in my design. So you can think about that if you want to do something like that. It's your quilt. You can design it the way you'd like it. I also want to, just real quick, I just yesterday got something new. Something I hadn't tried before. I asked my quilting friends group, I'm on Facebook, and I have a Presto Avenue Designs friends group. If you'd like to be in that group, you're sure welcome to join us. But I had asked them, because I've heard so much about these wool quilting mats, pressing mats, are they good? And everybody said, oh yes, we love them, we love them. Some people have them to fit their whole ironing board. I do a lot of ironing of just like fabric, so I didn't really know that I wanted that. But I went and bought myself one, and it does do a very nice job. So I want to thank you, friends, for your help in telling me what you liked, and so it kind of helped me out in deciding. Got something new now, and it's my new wool pressing mat. Thank you very much. So I will probably let you have some time now to make blocks, as many as you like. If you have any questions, make sure you let me know what your questions are, and we might have one more video on how we're sewing these together, and then we'll be looking forward to see what people come up with as far as their own cube quilt. Thank you for watching, and if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, please do that. I usually don't remember to tell people that, so I'd love to have you subscribe to see some other things.